Let's see.
Do you want me to start things off?
Go for it, mate. Go for it.
Okay, right, so what do you call a nun on a wheelchair?
I'm not sure.
Virgin Mobile.
That's one of those jokes that's so bad. It's
so bad it's good.
Exactly.
That was my last turn on Halloween. It was great.
What'd you go dressed as?
I think that year I dressed up as a shower. Like, I had a massive ring hoop and just a shower tool, and I just walked around holding that up.
There you go. Listen, mate.
It was a last minute thing.
Last minute thing, and what were you in the shower and just thought that's what I'm going dressed as? Yeah.
5 to 6 p.m. I was like, stuff it. I'll just dress up as a shower. What about yourself?
What, my last Halloween outfit?
Yeah, go on.
Oh God, I've got no idea. I've not dressed up for Halloween in ages. I think probably a pirate.
Oh.
Is like the least convincing pirate you'll ever see. Like, I'm pretty sure that like I went into the town, got myself an eye patch, and then basically just wore my clothes, and I was like, I'm a pirate, and that's it. So I think like I just looked like I was visually impaired rather than dressing up for Halloween. But you know, I got there.
Absolutely fair enough. So okay, that's in 3, 2, 1. You're watching the Gog Pod. Today I've been joined by Robert Borthwick from A View from the Terrace. Now, for those who are unaware of your work, mate, tell us all about yourself.
Well, tell you all about myself. Yes, A View from the Terrace is the sort of probably the main thing that I'm involved in just now, which is a weekly BBC Scotland television show all about Scottish football. I would hope that all of your viewers have heard of it and watch it every single week, but if not, it's on this Friday, 10:30 p.m, and every Friday thereafter. Yeah, I've basically been involved in the podcast game for a good few years. So the TV show came from the Terrace podcast, Terrace Scottish Football Podcast, run by Chairman Fou, Mr. Craig Telfer. He invited me on after I'd started a Hearts podcast about 6 years ago. And him being a Hearts fan and hearing my dulcet tones, he thought that's the guy for me. I'll get him on there as well. So yeah, basically just an absolute mouthpiece who likes the sound of his own voice and has put himself out there. That's me.
Of course, I'm a bit the same myself. I mean, been doing YouTube for 7 years now. It's pretty much the same thing. But
there you go.
Recently, my most recent memory of yourself was that you admitted on TV that you failed maths despite your dad being a maths teacher. Has he responded to this ever since?
No, he tends to just not talk about it at all ever since it happened. So that would be what 12 and a half years ago. 12 and a half years ago, I got that was my first hire. So 13 and a half years ago, I got the envelope through. I'm sure you know the feeling with all my results on it. And I was like, I knew I'd done quite badly. And I was like, all right, okay. If I'm lucky, I've scratched a C, maybe. And it came back. I don't know if the SQA forms are still the same, but it just wasn't there. Like, it didn't even show up that I'd sat maths, which meant it was just a complete fail. And my dad was in the house when I got the letter, so I basically just told him and then ran away. And we've not spoken about it since. So that's a good old fashioned Scottish household there. Just not talking about your problems. I didn't reset it as well. I was like, no, do you know what? I gave it a go. I hated it. So that was that.
Well, funny you should say that. I've got my SQA right here for radio when I got that in college. Thought I'd just bring that up.
I was going to say, did you have that prepared? Did you have that ready for that question just in case? Or
yeah, I've been applying for jobs left, right, and centre recently, so I literally have it sat on my gaming PC tower just in case I need to whip it out. Because of course I got my degree last year for media, and then ever since I've just been applying for jobs left, right, and centre, hoping to just find my niche job that I've been searching for. It's just not been successful so far, but there's plenty of time yet.
Well, that's it, mate. That's it. Keep plugging away.
Exactly. Back on maths. I mean, in my second year trying to actually pass it, I got halfway through. It was like a week till the prelim. I was like, I can't be arsed. So I just said, look, to my teacher, I've got an interview with James McFadden next week. Is it all right if I just sit and prepare for that? And he was like, aye, sure, because he was a football fan, so it was all right. So what I did was just sit at the back of the class, and I'd just sit and play Football Manager on my laptop. And if he ever came nearby, I would just put up Word and just start typing away.
Listen, mate, that's it. Play to your strengths. Just
Exactly.
don't even bother with maths. Just go straight for the James McFadden interview. There you go.
I'd rather learn about playing a 4-2-3-1 than parabolas anyway.
Ah, well, there you go. It's all numbers anyway, mate. It's all numbers.
Exactly. It's a numbers game, mate. It's a numbers game. So my next question is, how long have you known Craig Telfer? Because one of my highlights of the show every week is that we back and forth used to. Like, is that off the cuff or is it prepared?
No, it's genuinely like majority of the time it's off the cuff. Like sometimes we do have to prepare and like sort of think about it. But he doesn't tell me what he's going to say. Like he basically just goes in. I've got no idea. So it's quite challenging, to be honest with you. Like, it's quite hard because I'm like, right, he's going to say something awful about me here, and I need to be prepared. No, I mean, it's kind of that thing. It's like me and Telfer. I probably hang out with Telfer more than I hang out with anyone else on the show.
Ah, right. So you've got that sort of practice anyway.
Aye, it's just easier. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it just sort of goes that way. But no, nothing's ever prepared. I've always got something in my head. It's like, this is what I want to say, but he might just railroad that, and I'll be like, right, well, I've got nothing now, so I just look like an arsehole on national television. So it's it's interesting whenever we start filming. I don't know what he's going to say, but no, I've known Telfer like in real life. First time I met him was actually in Berlin airport.
Really?
Completely by chance. We'd been in the same group chat for like a year. And then we were just both about to get on the same flight in Berlin. And he was like, oh, you Robert Borthwick? I was like, all right, Telfer. Like, and then since then. So very random, first time I met him. But that was like December 2017. So just over 3 years ago. So, aye.
That was like, well, not on the same scale, but you know 1885 Ben?
Yes.
The first time I bumped into him was after a Hearts Motherwell game, because he goes to random games as well, just like myself. I bumped into him at Haymarket train station just before I was about to get the train back to Cooper. And it was just by chance. I was like, all right. And then we went our separate ways.
Aye, people you know from the internet, and you're just like, oh, you're in real life now. This is weird. Aye.
Yeah. You just don't know what to say.
Aye, yeah.
So last season, speaking of vloggers, last season you brought the discussion of matchday vloggers, in which I was included.
Yes.
I wanna ask, how did you find my channel?
To be fair, like, so I basically live my life on Twitter, right? Mm-hmm. So I live my life online, which is kind of why I do that for the TV show, and it's also kind of what I do for a living. Mm-hmm. So I naturally just see like yourself and Ben and Aaron and all these guys popping up. So it's not as if like, you know, you weren't recommended. I didn't have to go searching for you. I just knew of your existence just naturally from being on Twitter. And that's how it came up. And I just thought it'd be like an interesting discussion point, because it's like, it's just a different version of what we are. It's fan media. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not your mainstream Daily Record and all that kind of stuff. It's just guys who off their own back want to talk about Scottish football and want to talk about their little corner of Scottish football and how they do it. And I think what you guys do is fantastic. Like, it is, like, it's different. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, different's always good for me. It's something that you won't often see. So like, you going mental when I think it was Sherwin Seedorf scored at Tynecastle.
Yes, and I think it was a Hilton goal that was shown on the show, and I was quite pleased when I saw Joel Sked's reaction.
Yes, and you know that's why I brought it up, because like obviously you had like your reaction to that goal in the Motherwell end, and then Aaron's reaction in the Hearts end, and that like sort of
it all came together really well.
It's exactly what football is, though. It's like you've got one guy in the Hearts end who's like, oh, for fuck's sake, and then you've got you going absolutely mental in the away end. And I just thought it was like it was too good to miss up, like pass up that opportunity to.
You're absolutely right.
But also, I knew it was a good thing to talk about because I knew that some of the other guys would be like, no, I'm not too sure about this. Do you know what I mean? I was like, right, okay, here we go. Start talking about it. And I think the debate was really good, actually, like, because it was kind of split. Like, me and Sean were both like, oh, no, this is good. And then, like, Telfer kept quiet. And Joel wasn't too sure about it. So, no, it was like, so that sort of thing. You're always looking for things to talk about on the show, especially with social media. And that's just like a different branch of it. Do you know what I mean? So it was perfect. And then we also spoke about those Rangers guys.
Oh, Sci Live.
Sci Live
with the microphone over his shoulder.
We're here live on Socky Hall Street. Aye, unbelievable, man. So that was one of the best sections we've done. I think it was. It was good.
I completely agree. Like, because like I've always wanted like because. Hopefully in the future I'm going to be on television myself and sit talking about football, because that's all I want to do with my life. Just sit talk about football 24/7, and that'll be me happy. It doesn't matter what the pay grade is. Just have me sit talk about football.
Aye.
And I've been lucky enough to be featured in the latest Sports Scene episode as well.
No, I've seen that. I think what Sports Scene are doing with getting the fans on at the end is really good. Like, it's just getting that different angle. So it's not just James McFadden and Stevie Thompson and all these guys. Like you do get the boots on the ground, so to speak, the people who are actually there in the stands. So I think it's really good. Yeah.
So as a content strategist, what is an average day in the life for yourself?
Basically, it's so what I do for a living is work with clients who essentially like studio something who I work for, a creative agency. So we come up with ideas, we go through production, we make things basically. We make things that's the tagline. Make things people genuinely like. It's like, you know, we wouldn't make anything that we didn't like ourselves, and we sort of present it out to the world in that way. And then where my job comes in is how the clients then present that on social media. And how they show it. So I mean, even if it's a TV ad or something that we've made for someone, what I'll then do is say like, right, you can't just put a TV ad on social media because it's not made for that. So what can you do? You can break it down into little sort of snackable segments of the TV ad. You can re-edit it so it's better for social media. And then basically it depends on how much the client wants. But, you know, if it comes to copywriting, telling them exactly, you know, what to say, when to say it, on which channel, and basically just giving them a bit of like a plan, a forward-thinking plan. So it's like if it's 2 weeks in advance or 4 weeks in advance, if it's a campaign, it's maybe 6 weeks, and saying like, right, this is how you should structure your content throughout that time to get the best results. And I think that's the easiest way to say what a content strategy.
I quite like the idea of sort of being a sort of content planner, because like, I mean, I do that myself. I know the best times of the day to actually put out content, and I know what roughly the right people to send my content to, because I've been doing that for 7 years now. Going to be 8 years in August. Fuck.
Jeez, there you go.
Yeah, so it's basically a third of my life has been on the internet.
Perfect, man. That's it.
So what would you say is the most unexpected story you've had to cover?
The most unexpected story that I've had to cover for A View from the Terrace.
Could be anything, mate.
Could be anything, right? Jeez, I'm not sure actually. I think like one thing that I'm really like annoyed about is the fact that we, like, the TV show had like a winter break. So our last show was on the 19th of December, and then we didn't come back until last week, which is like start of February, end of January. Yeah. So that means that I missed Celtic going to Dubai.
I know, so you had such a fantastic segment for that. You'd have to add like half the show just for that.
That's it. It's like that could have filled up 2 hours of a TV show, let alone just like a few minutes of a segment. So like, I think like I really wanted to go full in on that, but by the time we'd come back, it had already been done to death. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like that like we touched on it, we spoke about it a wee bit, but there was other things that we needed to catch up on as well. So I think like that's kind of the one that got away. Like, see, honestly, because they'd just been beaten by Rangers, and it was on the commentary. I think Andy Walker or whoever it was, Ian Crocker, said like, "Oh, and Celtic are flying out to Dubai tomorrow," and I was just like, genuinely, just staring at one part of my screen for about 5 minutes, like, did he actually just say they're about to fly out to Dubai like straight after this game? That is absolutely insane. But then, right enough, like other people cottoned onto it, and then next thing you know, Scott Brown and Neil Lennon are having a pint by the pool, and it was like that. That was just absolutely out of nowhere, and it's annoying because like I could speak about it on the podcast, and I could speak about it on my Twitter, and like absolutely go to town on it basically. But the TV show, I was like, no, like we've missed it by a week. I was like, I'm absolutely gutted by this. So I'd say like, even though we didn't properly go for it, I'd say like in recent memory, that's the weirdest thing that I've had to sort of try and make content for.
Like even after getting beat, I mean, you should surely just cancel the whole trip, because I mean, a trip abroad should be an award for how you've played over the course of the season. And I mean, okay, if it was my team or your team in that situation that Celtic are in, having won a trophy, finishing being second for so long in the season, I'd be delighted. I'd be like, but they don't need to come back. It's great.
Yeah, but, I mean, that's it. For any other team in Scotland, it would have made total sense. I mean, obviously, you still wouldn't go to Dubai in the middle of a pandemic, but having that holiday or reward, like it would make it like if Hearts had won the cup, you know, like maybe go to fucking Loch or something like that would be lovely. But it's like, you know, you don't do that when you're
canoeing.
You don't do that when you're a stumbling Celtic team anyway. And so I'm still gutted that I wasn't able to properly go to town on that on the TV show.
Oh no, definitely. So over your sort of duties for the show, how much would you say is actual interviews, and how much would you say is desk research?
So in terms of what I do for the show, it's mostly just looking at Twitter, to be honest with you, man. Like, honestly, I was speaking to Telfer, me and Telfer did a sort of special podcast about this the other day, and it's like 7 days a week, non-stop, just looking for things that I can then present on the TV show, and it's just like all the time. So I think like maybe once a week, usually on a Monday morning, I look through all the YouTube channels, so every single Scottish team, and see if they've uploaded anything new, because I'm like, there's always a little bit of gold on there as well, just to know where to find it. I follow too many footballers on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. They're all really boring, and it's like it's hard to find stuff that's good. So it's like it's mostly looking at fan accounts. So again, like yourself, Aidan, and then there's guys like Evan McFarlane, who's brilliant at the whole like Scottish football commentary thing, and being on top of things, and it's just sort of like keeping on top of it and liking everything that might have some semblance of like entertainment on the TV show, and then thinking like, right, how do I present this? Does it have any worth? Like, will the guys find it funny? Will the guys want to get involved as well? So desk research is a very nice way of saying that I'm addicted to Twitter, basically. It's like that's the professional way of saying that I've got a serious problem. But yeah, no, desk research is definitely the part of it.
Desk researcher at A View from the Terrace.
That's it.
There's the plaque. Out of all the Twitter accounts you follow, who's the most entertaining?
Who's the most entertaining? Oh, can I say myself?
If you want.
I'm only kidding. The most entertaining? That's a great question. It's actually like, it feels like sacrilege saying this, right? But one of my favourite accounts on Twitter is an Everton fan. And he just tweets about Everton the whole time. And it's like, he is absolutely amazing at what he does, because he just winds people up. And he's like, he makes all these terrible photoshops, and like, it's just like his turn of phrase and all that kind of stuff. Genuinely, like, that is one of my favourite accounts on Twitter. In terms of Scottish football, oh God, most entertaining. So I, like, for my sins, right, I enjoy the Celtic and Rangers accounts that just wind each other up.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I really enjoyed it. So it's like Chairman Lamal, the Celtic fan, and like the wee videos that he makes and stuff like that. It's like, that's actually really funny. It's like, I think that because I'm not within that like Rangers and Celtic bubble, like I can sort of see the humour of it more than a Rangers fan could, or even like he winds up Celtic fans as well, even more than that as well. So it's like, I really enjoy that. My mate Stevie, Stevie Din, he's off Twitter just now. He's taking some time away from it, but he's fantastic. Again, he's a Celtic fan, but he's just like, he knows how to wind up Motherwell fans. He knows how to wind up Aberdeen fans. It's like he's just got this way about him where it's just like, it's really jovial, but people get absolutely furious with it. But no, generally, like I follow fans from pretty much every single team, and it's like I follow fan accounts for a lot of different teams as well, because I'm like, that's where you get into like the proper stuff that a Hearts fan wouldn't usually see about Motherwell. Do you know what I mean? And it's like just sort of go from there. But like, there's so many good Scottish football, so to speak, Twitter accounts. Like Evan McFarlane, who I mentioned earlier on, he's great, Greenock Morton fan, and he just sort of puts loads of stuff up as well, which is always entertaining. Old Firm Facts, you know,
that's a good shout.
The sheer amount that he tweets blows my mind, and it's like he's constantly on top. I genuinely don't know how he is so quick on certain things. It's like, it's almost like people are telling him before it even happens, and then he comes out with it.
It's like he's got the mouse hovering over tweet just before like the whole carnage kicks off.
He must have like 1,000 different meme templates as well that he's just right, put that in there. You know, fair play to him. Like I do not have that dedication to my craft that he does. So no, he's a decent follow as well. But no, there's loads. Like that's what I love about Scottish football Twitter, is like there's such a broad church. Like there's so many different people talking about different things, and if you get them all talking at the same time, if something funny happens, then that's when Twitter's at its very best.
Let's be honest, if there was one whole massive Scottish football night out after the pandemic hits, and you've got like everyone's Twitter account coming in, that would
end up in fights. Like I have no doubt in my mind that would end up in fights. Like I'm quite happy that all this is just on Twitter, to be honest with you. But I think that's good enough. Keep it there.
Quite right. If there was a rule in football that you could change, what would it be?
There was a rule in football that I could change, what would it be? I'll be quite boring with my first one, and in the top flight, I absolutely despise the 5 subs thing. Get rid of that.
Oh, that's a new one, right? Yeah.
It's rubbish. Honestly, it's like, because the players might be a bit tired. Shut up. They've been in full training for ages now, and all this is doing is benefiting the big teams that have deep squads. So I was like, nah, absolutely hate that.
Agreed.
What else? I would. Oh God, what would I do? You've caught me. You've caught me here, Gogsy. Try to think of something quite entertaining I'd like to see. Oh, do you know what I'd like to see reintroduced? Is drop balls, contested balls at every opportunity. Like as many opportunities as you can, because that is the closest you get to like allowed violence on a football pitch. Like genuinely, you drop a ball, neither player wants to go for the ball, they're just kicking each other, and the referee's right there and he doesn't do anything about it. It's like you're basically just booting the guy on the opposition, and it's absolutely amazing. Like it's 2 years now that's been out of the game, and I've missed it for both those years. So bring that back.
Yeah, I would completely agree. But as a former referee myself, I just despise that drop ball situation.
Because you're in danger of getting kicked yourself.
Exactly. It's like a whole clattering of legs.
You're in the blast zone. That's it. It's get yourself out of there.
It's not just that. It's the danger of the ball just hitting you in the groin or something like that. Especially on a cold winter's morning and it's a mitre.
That's not what you want, mate. That is not what you want.
Absolutely not. I actually recently had to step into referee a game. Like I've been to 2 matches over lockdown, and like because I've been doing a wee bit of work with Tayport Football Club, I was filming for I was doing a sort of match day vlog type thing for Tayport, and I said the referee pulled a hamstring, and I was like, I've got like the lowest grade for a referee, so I can still do it if you want me to. And they were like, I will just get you a change of kit. Because it's been that long since I'd actually refereed a proper game. So just missing the occasional penalty shoot was my forte.
Yeah. That's mad. That's like something you see on BBC News sometimes. It's like, oh, aye, there was a linesman in the crowd, and he just stepped in and took over. Did you perform well? Is my question to you.
I'd say it was all right. I was a wee bit rusty. I was.
Get any of the laws?
What?
Did you forget any of the laws? You said it had been a long time, so
yeah,
it's like
it had been a good year or two at least. I mean, I can't remember off the top of my head. I forget any laws, but I mean, I do remember the referee who did mark my performance in the second half. He said that I was a bit whistle happy.
all right.
I was like, all right, call me Florida. I did miss a penalty shoot, but it was through a crowd of players, and I was watching the ball come in from the edge of the box. I was not concentrating on that, and then all of a sudden, someone was claiming a penalty, and the Lockheed Hart management were not very pleased about my performance, and they were definitely shouting at me a lot. But sometimes I enjoy just getting shouted at because I'm just sort of winding people up, and I don't even mean it.
Well, that's it. That's the way to do it, man. Whistle happy as well. You like the sound of your own voice. All this is making sense to me. Like,
yes,
sounds right.
That's exactly that. What is your favourite item of memorabilia you've picked up over your career? Now, this could be a bit of advice or a memento.
My favourite piece of memorabilia. So, I have got a Tony Watt top from when he was in Hearts, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's the one that he wore on that day, but it was the strip that he was wearing when he scored his only goal for Hearts, right? And he basically, I think he was doing like giveaways on Twitter, and I'd basically I'd put in for a couple of them, but basically what had happened is I think a Celtic fan had won the Hearts top. And obviously the Celtic fan was like, I do not want that Hearts top. So he got in touch with me, and he was like, oh, like I follow you on Twitter, like you know, since I was at Hearts and stuff. You seem like a sound guy. Do you want this top? And I was like, absolutely, man, like 100%. So I've still got a Tony Watt top just in my cupboard over there, actually, that was sent to me by Mr. Tony Watt. Other than that, like I've got, I have a Hearts top from 1992. That like I absolutely adore. Like it's my favourite thing. Like it's again next to the Tony Watt top. It's hanging up in the cupboard because I do not want it to get ruined or touched by anyone. Essentially, I used to wear it whenever Hearts played at Hampden, and it was like my sort of my lucky top because like 2006 we won the Scottish Cup semi-final, final. 2012 we won the Scottish Cup semi-final, final. I didn't wear it in 2013 when we got beat by St Mirren in the League Cup final. I was like, that's it. It's like it's all gone now, and it's actually my brother got that top when he was 8 years old, and I'm 30 years old, and it fits me. So you know, it tells you the fit of 90s football tops was slightly different, but no, that is absolutely my favourite top, like by hands down.
Because they're definitely made differently now. Like I've got a shirt from the 80s, and it's like a 10 on me, and then when I wear like a shirt from like 4 seasons ago, it fits only just.
Aye.
I've developed a wee bit of a cider belly since university anyway, but.
Oh really? Right. Okay.
All those drinking nights. That's what it's all about, eh?
Aye, exactly.
Now we're moving on to Scotland qualifying, but first of all, I'd like to ask: have you ever been abroad for a football match?
So, not specifically, and not a Scotland game. I've never been away to see Scotland. Something that obviously when, like even before COVID and stuff, like just for the qualifiers, I was thinking about doing it. And then obviously with the Euros coming up, I was like, even if I don't get a ticket, like if Scotland were meant to be playing in Bilbao or something, it's like, I'll go to Bilbao without a ticket. I don't care. And just like do that sort of thing. I also missed out Fowler and Sean and a couple of other guys, Graham and Craig Cairns from the podcast, all went to the Women's World Cup in 2019.
Yes.
Again, that's one that I wanted to go to, but because of circumstances out with my control, I wasn't able to. So there's been a lot of like shoulda, woulda, coulda sort of moments with going abroad. But I've never actually been to see Scotland abroad. I've never been to see Hearts abroad. I know I've been to see Hearts at Anfield. I've been to see them at White Hart Lane, but I never actually gone to an away European game. So I'm rubbish at going away to like foreign climes to watch the football. I've seen games in other countries and stuff like that, but it's not the same if you're not supporting either team.
No, you're absolutely right. Like, I mean, I'd saved up for Motherwell this season to go and see it, but of course COVID couldn't go. And I mean, I've been to one Scotland away game, which was in San Marino.
Oh, class!
Yeah, it was brilliant until the game kicked off.
What's San Marino like as a country?
San Marino is something completely different. Like, I stayed the weekend in Rimini, and then got the supporters bus through from Rimini Town Square into San Marino. Didn't really see much of San Marino. Like, we got dropped off at the stadium complex, and there was about 3,000 of us, Tartan Army, and it was absolutely amazing. Like, there was only a handful of San Marino fans, but like the way that the stadium is situated, it's like a wee valley. Like, you've got like, there's a massive monument at the top of a hill, and then you see that over to your left, and over to the right there's like a massive hill which people were just standing watching the game from anyway.
Aye.
But it was something completely different. It was like a League Two ground at the international stage. It was strange, but it was really, really pleasant seeing.
People standing watching from a hill was making me think of like Methil or like Dumbarton or something. It's like that same sort of vibe.
It is, but it still felt like home away from home, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But then again, every football ground is for me.
Aye. Yeah. That's like one of my things. Like, if I go to any foreign country, I'm like, where is the nearest football stadium? And like, how can I go and visit it? Basically, even if I just stand outside it, I'm like, that's class. And then I leave. Yeah. It's just like, I just love seeing football stadiums. Like, it's like one of the biggest. Like, I'm 30. I keep reiterating that, 30. See, when I'm on a train and I go past a football stadium, I'm like, like, absolutely in awe of it. I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's me every time I go from Cooper to Motherwell. Like, I have to go past Kirkcaldy, then Starks Park. I'm like,
that's it. It's like I once went past Starks Park on the way to Aberdeen, I think it was.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of Wraith Rovers Hibs game. And I was like, actually going past in the middle of a game, I was like, oh, that's new. I was like, that's exciting. And then literally, like, it came up on my phone. It was like 2 seconds later, Hibs had scored. Jason Cummins scored. And I was like, imagine the timing was slightly different. I'd seen him score. Funny
thing is, I think I might have actually been at that game.
Hibs were wearing like a luminous yellow top. And I'm fairly certain that, Chris Commons scored. Jason Cummins, that's the game that he hit the bar from like half a yard out, and he somehow missed.
Can't remember. Like, I've been to a Wraith Rovers Hibs game before, but
it would have been 2016, start of 2016, like January. It was like January, February time, 2016.
It might have been the season before that I went to, but yeah, because it might have been the season that Hibs had that really dark bottle green, which was quite.
That was year Hearts got promoted. Was that year? Had that, like, it was just, it didn't even have white sleeves. It was just all like dark green.
Yeah, all dark.
It was like the boring football top I'd ever seen in my life.
It was awful.
Aye.
The only kit I can remember being worse was Coventry's change strip that was brown.
Oh, the brown one with the white bits that came down. Aye.
It looked like a fudge. the wrapper of a fudge.
It's just a horrible football top, though.
That's awful.
Call it what it is.
So where were you the moment that Mitrovic had his penalty saved by David Marshall? I
was about 15 yards away from where I am now in my living room. Obviously, the way things are just now means I couldn't watch it anywhere, and I was my flatmate, as he is doing right now, just through that wall, was working. So like when Christie scored, like I went fucking mental, obviously by myself, and he came running through, and he was like, "Yes," and then like I started like,
ran back.
And then, pretty much. And then obviously when Serbia scored right at the end, I didn't make a noise. I just put my head in my hands. I was like, it's happened again. I cannot believe that. And then like Nickel came through. He's like, I saw the score on my phone. Like, what's happening? And I was like, McTominay. And that was basically it. I was just like absolutely furious. And then like when it got to penalties, Nickel sort of stopped working for a wee bit, and we watched it together, and just went absolutely mental. But it was one of those things. It's like I could hear the street and like people across the street and other people in my building and all that kind of stuff. Everyone was going mental, and then 5 minutes later, there was folk out on the streets, like just folk running up and down and going crazy. Like, and this is the West End of Glasgow, which you might assume is more of a rugby area, if I'm being totally honest with you. But folk were going absolutely mental, and it was magic. Like, obviously, if I'd been in the pub for it, or if I'd been in Serbia, it would have been unbelievable. But even then, like, it didn't really matter, because the euphoria of qualifying was still the same. In that instant that Davy Marshall saves the penalty, like, it doesn't matter where you are. Your brain is going to go, this is the best thing ever. And then that's it. And it just sort of moves on from there. So it's like, it really didn't matter where I was or who I was with. Like, just in that moment, it was like, the last time Scotland qualified for a major tournament, I was 7. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty class. So yeah, no, I just watched it in the flat, but didn't hinder the enjoyment of it whatsoever.
I was -1 last time Scotland qualified for a tournament.
Jesus Christ. Well, there you go.
Feel old yet?
Honestly, Gogsy, like my thing for so many years has always been making people feel old. Right? I've always been like, I've like in group chats, I've got mates who are turning 40 this year. I'm always like, hey, get up, yeah.
You're gonna die soon.
Now you're doing it to me. Like, it's honestly, and that's the only reason why we have Sean McGuigan in our group chat, is to make us all feel young. Like, it's just like, he's the reason he's there. But no, fair play to you. Now that the shoe's on the other foot, I'm not a young man anymore. I understand.
Absolutely. Like, that night will forever be, like, as bad as it was being sitting in this exact chair. Because what we do is we've got a live show, and we cover basically anything Scottish football, as much as we can. And the fact we had that night, and like the stream got 10,000 views. It was great. We got onto the Scotland national team YouTube channel as well, because they included a wee clip of us celebrating. It was absolutely amazing. And the fact there was us going absolutely mental, and then there's Andy Murray in the same video, like polar opposites.
Honestly, that video of Andy Murray, football fan Andy Murray, really, really annoyed me. Yes, get in. Shut up, mate. Like, honestly,
you're just saying that because he's a Hibby.
Aye, a Hibby. Aye, exactly. I remember for years and years and years, Andy Murray used to always say in interviews he's a Barcelona fan. And now all of a sudden, they won the Scottish Cup. He was like, oh, I'm a Hibs fan. Aye, very good, mate. Come on, grow up. Honestly.
So Scotland have never made it out of a group before in a major finals. Is 2021 the year?
Why not? Why not? We've shown in recent history that Czech Republic, we can beat them. We've got an amazing record against Croatia, and we've shown again recently that we can give England a good game. So absolutely, why not? Like, Croatia, that Croatia team that reached the World Cup World Cup final in 2018, that was quite an old squad. You know, that all those players that they had, like, they've got a couple of like promising youngsters coming through, and like, fair enough. But it's like, people are going to assume again, it's like, because they did it 3 years ago, they can do it again. Why not? Like, do you know what? Like, Czech Republic especially as well. Like, I'd fancy us against the Czech Republic. Our record against Croatia makes me very confident for that. And England at Wembley, like, just go and have a go at them. Like, they will be, as has been seen before, they'll be terrified if they lose an early goal at home in a major tournament. Like, just take the game to them. And honestly, I'd say we have as good a chance getting out of this group as we have of any other, like, ever. Basically, obviously there was the there's been some embarrassing ones in the past, and you might argue that obviously Brazil were there, but Norway and Morocco in '98 probably should have beaten both of them, got pumped by Morocco, and scrambled to a draw against Norway. So it's like it's never that simple with Scotland. But not qualifying for 23 years and then breaking that, getting that monkey off the back. Why can't we just do that again? Why can't we just keep rolling into it and see how it goes? Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. What do you make of the World Cup group as well? Qualifiers.
Fucking Israel, mate. Honestly, like what?
We were the exact same. We were absolutely jubilant at the fact that we had Austria and Denmark. We were singing Do a Deer, and then Israel comes out. I'm like,
I wish Israel would just leave us alone, and I'm sure that is a mutual feeling, to be honest with you. But in terms of the wider group, like, it's not bad. It's not that bad. Like, obviously, losing to Israel in the last round of fixtures has kind of messed us up a wee bit for where we should be. It should be an easier road to the World Cup than what we've got now. But like, it's a decent group. It's a winnable group. Definitely a winnable group. You see some of the top seeds and even some of the second seeds in some of the other groups, and it's like, all right, actually, no, we've got quite lucky here. Austria. Austria have like David Alaba and stuff like that, and they've got a decent side. And Denmark have still got Christian Eriksen and players. They've always got a few players at Ajax and players that play in Germany and stuff like that. But if Stevie Clark can, if the players have all recovered from the hangover after beating Serbia, which I think was a big issue in those Israel games, I absolutely see no reason why we can't qualify for that World Cup. I just do think it would be typical though if the only two. Let's say in your lifetime, because you were born after that one, the only two major tournaments that Scotland qualify for are during a pandemic and then in Qatar. I think that would be a very Scottish thing.
Completely. Like, I completely expect us to qualify and then miss out on Germany 2024.
Oh, 100%, mate. Book it. Honestly, it's not going to happen.
No, it's a stick on at the bookies. Definitely. So now we're going to go on to the make or break round. This is the final round of questions. It's all off topic. So first one is, you have to make a match day playlist, but can only choose 3 artists. Who's in it? Match day
playlist, 3 artists. So, AC/DC. Okay, nice. Because I believe that the best song that a team can run out to, or when teams are gathering on the pitch before kickoff, Thunderstruck by AC/DC is the single best song you can get to wind up the crowd and noise them up. 100%. Second, I have always enjoyed, again, this is like talking towards the atmosphere of the game, Prodigy. I think, again, it's just like, it's high tempo, it's noisy, and it's exactly what you want to hear like before a game and just go absolutely wild. Like, even talking about it now is just like making me miss going to football even more, because Hearts quite often play Prodigy and like they've played Thunderstruck in the past as well. A third one, who would it be? Because I used to work for the SPFL, right? And when I worked for the SPFL, I basically helped curate the match day playlists for the Betfred Cup semi-final and the final.
Right.
And like bring that all together. And that was like one of my favourite parts of the job. And I'm now like racking my brain trying to think of another good one. I think like something, because like obviously AC/DC, a bit rock and roll, Prodigy, bit electronic, bit dancey. So I'm more thinking of like something a bit lighter to take the edge off it. So
something like a Sundara Karma or Circa Waves.
Now we're talking. There we go. Something a bit atmospheric, but a bit like, you know what? Just because they're one of my favourite bands and they've got songs that would fit into this, I'm going to go for Mogwai. So one of the things that annoys me the most, right? Annoys me the most. It's definitely not one of the things that annoys me the most, but annoys me a wee bit, is that Mogwai are Celtic fans, right? Big Celtic fans, and Celtic play Why Does the Sun Smell So Loud before games, which is a Mogwai song, and it just works so well as as being played through the PA of a football stadium. It's like, it's a wee bit of filler. Like, let's say like 2:45, you'll play that song, right? It's not quite 10 minutes to kick off. He's not quite building up to it, but you've got that
But
wee bit.
it's a sort of foundation for the last 15 minutes before.
Exactly. It's something that starts quiet and gets
Yeah.
loud, and it's like it builds you up to it. So let's say start with a bit of Mogwai, right? Get the Prodigy on there, and then as the teams are coming out, Thunderstruck by AC/DC.
Yeah.
That's the one.
That's fantastic. If you can make a five-a-side team up of players that you've met, who's in it?
Players that I've met.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of footballers that I've met now, mate. To be honest with you, I don't think I've met that many of them. So in goals, I would go for Henry Smith, who was the first goalkeeper that I saw when I started going to Hearts games. I've met him. I've met him 3 or 4 times now at various functions. Need a couple of defenders in there. So, in terms of defenders, I would go with Egert Jonsson.
Yeah,
a couple of times. Just like to bring this in mind, I have not met many footballers at all, and most of them are Hearts players, right? Bear that in mind. Another defender, so Egert Jonsson's a bit of a box-to-box in five-a-sides as well, so he can play that role. One of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life was Sol Bamba, so I'm going to put Sol Bamba in there. He was an absolute delight of a man. So yeah, 100%. Sol Bamba's going in there. In the engine room, I am going to go for Colin Cameron. Absolutely phenomenal footballer, lovely guy. Again, bit box to box. You've got a lot of energy in this team already, right? You see what I'm going for here. We're hard running, but we're going to score goals as well, Gogsy. Okay, so you've got Egert Jonsson, sort of coming from the back. Colin Cameron, maybe in a more advanced role in this team, and then the striker. See, I masquerade as a striker myself when I play football.
Me too. Yeah.
There you go. What a partnership this would be.
What a partnership.
Young and old. I think. Who would the striker be, man? So, and five-a-sides as well. Can I tell you? I know this is a quick round. I'll tell you a very funny story very quickly. I used to work in a nightclub in Edinburgh, right?
Right.
And Dundee United had been playing Hibs that day, and it's when Danny Cadamarteri was playing for Dundee United.
Oh, that's a name from the past.
Aye. He was only there for about 6 months, and I was in this nightclub, and Danny Cadamareri I just served him, and he was just standing there with a bottle of beer, and Anthony Stokes was playing for Hibs at the time. Went up to him and just went, "All right, man, we played against each other today. I'm Anthony Stokes." And I was just washing glasses next. I heard everything. And Danny Cadamarti just went, "Aye, okay, no worries, mate. I'm just going to go and stand over here." And just went and stood somewhere else by himself. And I was like, Anthony Stokes was just standing there. And I was like, yeah. Like one of the most brutal patchings I've ever seen in my life. I was like, that is phenomenal. Honestly, man, I could not have been happier in that moment that Anthony Stokes looked like an absolute arsehole. It was fantastic. So good, man.
Oh, that has been ended. Oh, I love that. I love hearing stories about footballers behind closed doors. That's
it. I mean, Anthony Stokes was a regular in that nightclub. So I was constantly phoning him taxis at like 4 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that. He liked a bevy. He liked a bevy.
Anthony Stokes +1?
Christ. Pretty much, man. Pretty much every time it was like, can you get me and my girlfriend a taxi? I'm like, that's different girlfriend last time, mate. But the striker that I would choose would be... I'm going to go for Mark de Vries.
Oh.
Met Mark de Vries a bunch of times as well. So, pardon me. I was a ball boy at Tynecastle for a year. And that's when Mark de Vries and all that were sort of mainstays in the Craig Levine Hearts team. And de Vries was a very sound big laddie. But I think in a game of fives, if you gave him the ball, no one would get it off him. No one would be able to shove him or get past him or do anything with it. And he would score goals for fun. Huge big guy. And he would just be a battering ram, just going right through the middle of folk. And that's what I want to see.
I still get nightmares of that time he completely bitched the Motherwell defence up at Tannadice, when he played for Dundee United. I think they beat us 2-0 and he was just all over. It might have been Mark Reynolds at the time. He just completely bossed the game.
Aye, he had a tendency to do that. He would just absolutely bully folk. He was amazing at it. Aye,
that's your sort of cult hero type of player, isn't it?
Oh, aye. Like, he scored 4 goals against Hibs on his home debut. Like, there's no more cult hero that you can get. And again, like, one of the times that I didn't speak to him on this occasion, but I saw Mark de Vries in town. He was in a nightclub called Shanghai Is it Shanghai? Le Monde. It was Le Monde. He was up the stairs from Shanghai. And genuinely, he was at this table with one of those big, massive bottles of like Belvedere vodka, and he had like all these other things. And he was surrounded by about 14 women. And he was just sitting in the middle of it, just like drinking and chatting away. And I was just like, fair play to you, big man. Like, you'd left Hearts years previously, but folk were still like, oh, MDV, Mark de Vries. Like, I was, some boy. So, yeah, that's my five-a-sides team of players that I've met. But as I say, I've not met that many players, so it's a small sample size.
Yeah, for me, I would have to say off the top of my head right now, it'd be Connor Ripley in goals. It was on loan at Motherwell. He's there at Preston.
Yeah.
Centre half, I'd probably go with there's my runner, by the way. I'll go with Big Mick, Stephen McManus, centre half. Got to interview him. In midfield, I'd have to go with Marvin Bartley. I've not met him in person, but I've had a few chats with him and had him on the podcast as well.
I've met Marvin. He came on A View from the Terrace, and I'd slagged him off so much on the internet before, and I was quaking in my boots when he showed up. He's a great guy. So no, fair enough.
Funnily enough, I got to meet him through start of lockdown. I was playing pro clubs with like Tony Watt, Declan Gallagher, and you'll be aware of that because you're on Twitter all the time. Yeah. Because it was like the first week or two that I just sat and bashed pro clubs non-stop with him, and then I realised I still have to finish my uni work, so I had to take a hiatus. And by the time I was thinking of making an Indian return, Paul the Tim had basically taken my spot.
Well, there you go.
So another midfield, I'd probably drop Faddy into a sort of advanced playmaker because he was absolute pleasure to talk to.
Faddy would just skin everyone. He wouldn't pass. He would skin everyone and score.
He wouldn't need 4 teammates. No, and he was actually kind enough to sign this for me for my 18th birthday.
Amazing, man! That's class.
Yeah,
superb.
So I have to flex it every time I have a podcast.
I thought I was flexing by saying I had a Tony Watt top, and then you're pulling out the James McFadden autograph. Come on, mate.
Aye, absolutely. I've also got an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer autograph as well, but it's minor. And up front, striker, big handsome John Sutton, probably.
I was thinking about John Sutton. I've met John Sutton. What a lovely man. What a genuinely lovely man.
Gent. Absolutely gent. But Scott McDonald as well. Like Scott McDonald gave me 3 hours of his time to do a podcast, which was
right. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. It was absolutely sensational talking to him for 3 hours.
That's it. I reckon start John Sutton, and then bring McDonald off the bench when he's tired everyone down. That's the way to do it, man.
Yeah, that's it. If you could be in a WhatsApp group chat with 3 characters from Scottish football of your choice, who's going to be in
it? Straight off the bat, Jim Leishman, Dick Campbell, and Ali McCoist. That's it. That is easy, mate. That is easy. Three guys who are just absolutely full of the patter. 100%. Like no doubt in my mind, to be those 3.
Well, funny you should say that. I'm actually going to be speaking to Jim Leishman quite soon about because I'm doing this documentary on how Scotland have basically returned to the Euros. So I'm going to get Jim Leishman on to talk about his time following Scotland as well.
Oh, class.
I've spoken to him before as well. Like he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
He's an absolute force of nature. Like he's just. I've seen him do after dinner speaking and stuff like that before as well. He's hilarious, man. So,
he's class. For me, I don't know who I'd put in this group chat. Declan Gallagher's up there because he's a character and a half. I'd probably say Scott Brown for the shithousery. Because as much as I hate him when he plays against Motherwell, like he just oozes that sort of villain. and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because I love someone who can wind up the opposition, like even wind up the Old Firm if you can't beat them. That's my motto. So whenever he winds up Rangers, I'm just like, yes, brilliant.
Yeah.
My third one, I have no idea. No idea who I'd go with. You know, I might actually have to say Jim Leishman myself.
There you go. That's fine, mate. That's fine. You can be in more than one group chat.
Yeah,
it's allowed.
Exactly. I'm in about 27 group chats.
Might need to show them how to use WhatsApp right enough, but as soon as we've got them started, that's it.
It's mainly for like the sort of people that think they're too professional for Instagram. So final big question is, picture the scene. You're in the pick and mix aisle of a sweet shop, but can only choose 3 sweets. What do you choose and why?
Oh my good lord. So fizzy cola bottles.
Oh yeah.
Fizzy cola bottles, 100%.
No judgment there.
I don't even know if these things still exist, right? It's been so long since I've got a pick and mix, but you know, like strawberry bonbons.
Oh yes, that's good tier. Brilliant.
Yeah. Strawberry bonbons, absolutely phenomenal sweet.
Yeah.
And lastly, I would go for, you know, those like they're not actually called this, right? But they're like mini refresher bars. So they've got the wee bit of sherbet in the middle, but they're soft sweets on top.
Oh yeah, I'm aware of those.
Yes, but they're like this size. They're just tiny wee things and they're like wee bite size. I don't know what they're called.
I can't remember what they're called
either. Mini refresher things, man.
We'll call them that for the because like you've got to be very tactical with your selection, because you can't go for a gobstopper because that's going to be too expensive because of the weight.
Oh no. Leave the gobstopper out of it, man. That's it. It's not for me.
Absolutely. For me, strawberry bonbons are there. Off the top of my head, it's got to be a giant fizzy cola bottle, like the 10p one, not the 5.
It's like that size.
Yeah, it's about that size. And I think if you go for the bland one, it's a bit too sickly if you have too many.
No, that's listen. I'm clearly speaking to a pick and mix connoisseur here. I'll take your word for that.
I'm a third one. I'll go with chocolate raisins just for a bit of difference.
I don't agree with that, but I respect it. I respect it. It's not. See, I'm not a raisin fan. Not since I was about 6 years old. I just went off them. But I think that's fair enough. I respect that choice. Yeah. It takes a big man to come out and say you get chocolate raisins in a pick and mix.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So now I've asked you some questions. Do you have anything to ask me?
Do I have anything to ask you? So, see the whole vlogging game, right?
Yeah.
When you can't go to a game, and obviously you're doing these sort of like I know you're doing them as well, the sort of watch-alongs and stuff like that. What do you prefer? Like, do you prefer being in the stadium? Because obviously, like at home, you can probably control it a lot easier than like with what you're doing. But when you're at the stadium, you've got the atmosphere and stuff. So it's like, what's preferred?
I mean, there's pitfalls to both sides. Like, for example, in the Scottish Cup final vlog, my final episode of Around the Grounds, the 200th one, I was sitting filming, I was chatting about what's happening in the game, and I had this fanny just come down and just do a rude hand gesture behind my back, and I had to just edit that out, or I would just zoom in on their face if they were doing that. Just like, this is a dick. Just fucking. But also, one of the greatest things is like that moment that was captured of Motherwell scoring against Hearts, the Hilton goal. I was sitting talking about what was happening, and then all of a sudden, Machino had that shot on target. Gillespie had to save it, and then all of a sudden, defence turned into attack, and Motherwell scored. And that was absolutely amazing to capture on camera. Like, I was buzzing. Like that day, I was moving down south to uni straight after the game, and I was just sitting in the car on the way down. I was just like, yes, I've got this nugget of content that's going to go absolutely mental. I got like 60,000 views as well on Twitter.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Moments like that I've got so many moments I've captured on camera that is absolutely fantastic, and I'm so glad that I've been there. Also, I enjoy sitting down and just chatting about football, and okay, the reaction's not that great when you're sitting down and you're sitting online, and it's not the same when you're not in the stadium watching the game. But I get to sit and chat to my mates who support other clubs.
Yeah.
Like, because one good thing about football is like you're all brought together by the one sport, and the fact that like we can sit and watch a different game each, and we'll talk about what's happening in different games in the sort of Gillette Soccer Saturday fashion. But it's that's enjoyable, but it's definitely not the same as actually being there and watching the game. Like my dream is to actually expand the show and maybe have us actually having correspondence at different games.
Yeah.
Because that I think no one in the fan sort of YouTube scene does anything like that. And I think to pioneer that in the YouTube format would be something sensational.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And it's quite interesting as well. Obviously, like you might have thought of that anyway, but obviously having the COVID and having to do things differently has probably made you think about the whole thing in a totally different way for when football actually does come back as well. And I find it really interesting.
Yeah, you're right, because the funny thing is, like, since we started the show Past the Mic, in which we've probably done, I would say maybe 150 shows. And I mean, by now it'd probably be on about 60 football matches that I've been to over the course of a season. So I've been lucky enough to be able to sit in my own gaff and just watch as much football as possible. But we've also got more views from just people coming in live, because people can just come in, sit for a 5-minute chat, and then jump back out. That counts as a view. Whereas you've got to actually go out and make your own content when you're actually going to the game. And it'll, for me, I take 2 hours to get home from Motherwell, and then I've got to set and load everything up. That's another 2 hours, and then watch everything back. It's another 1 hour at least, and then to edit, it's another 3. So we're looking at late Sunday after sports scene already before I've even uploaded my content.
Yeah, there you go, man. No, it's honestly I find that whole side of it very interesting, especially with how things have had to change with COVID and stuff like that. But no.
Yeah, I mean, it helps when there's instantaneous content, when you've got something that's just there for someone to just click and watch, whereas people could be just completely bored and not asked about the game about 24 hours after it's happened, and then that's you lost your viewer like that.
Yeah.
And it's a very dog eat dog world, because like, say if you've got 10 other people that's gone to the same game, people will watch the first vlog of the game and then just not care about whatever. But I've now got to a position where I'm lucky enough not to actually rush about uploading content, because people know that I will be uploading and they'll value my opinion as well for some bizarre reason. But yeah, I do chat a load of rubbish sometimes, but sometimes it does make sense.
Don't we all? That's the joy of it, man.
That's it. One last thing. Do you have anyone to nominate for a future podcast?
Craig G. Telfer.
Excellent.
Craig G. Telfer. Get Telfer on.
Right, I'll do my best, because I don't know if you remember one time he posted a video of, a picture of Peter Weatherson celebrating at Gayfield.
Yes.
Top right corner of that picture is me and my granddad celebrating.
Is that actually you?
That is actually me, aged 7 or 8.
I thought. I saw you mention that. I thought it was a joke.
That was My granddad is a massive Queen's Park fan.
Amazing.
And he went with his mate to Hampden one day, third Lanark the next week, and they would just sit and just go to each game. And that season, because Motherwell's that far away, I was still in primary school at the time, and my granddad was like, "Do you want to go to Gayfield or Methil?" Because it was that season of the playoff success that Queen's Park had, because it was such a good squad that season.
Yeah.
And we went to the away Arbroath game and the away East Fife game, and like I'd never seen that picture, and I got tagged in it by someone, and I got shown it. And I was like, no way, that is actually me being outed as an honorary Queen's Park fan.
That's it. I mean, it genuinely is one of the best Scottish football photos of all time. It's amazing. It's perfect. So no, I'm sorry that I didn't believe you when you said that was actually you. I thought it was a joke, but no, you should definitely.
I had to just sit there for about half an hour. I was just like, no, that can't be me. But like, it was like I couldn't believe it.
You should definitely get Telfer on and speak about it, or get Joel on and try and make him defend his stance on vloggers.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
I reckon that would be dynamite. Yeah. Dynamite content, mate. Get him on and try and make him justify his hatred. How dare he?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm pretty sure I saw something on the Instagram as well. That he said like because someone I know just basically interrogated him on the Instagram story, be like, is Joel sorry for calling YouTubers cringe or something like that? And I was like, oh, that's not happening, is it?
Honestly, man, like one of those two. I think get them on and see what they're saying.
I'll definitely. I might as well just complete the set because I've already had yourself and Sean on. There you
go. Just get the rest of the guys on. Sorted.
Fair enough. But yeah, that's all the questions I've got to ask. So once again, thank you to Robert Borthwick for coming on, and thanks to everyone at home for sitting and watching this far. If you did, and don't forget to leave a like down below, subscribe if you haven't already. I've been your host, goggsysaan, a bit of a scuba. See you later, guys. Take care.